We had our science critic, and he talked about energy. What is energy? Well, this fellow thinks he knows. Okay, he says that energy is, something we all know what it is, more or less. Okay, and so we had a couple questions with the word energy. Let's find out what he had to say about energy. Here goes. Listen carefully.
The questions and issues to be addressed in this rebuttal are: is energy a physical object or a property of an object? And if energy is a property, in other words, a mathematical concept, what sense does it make in physics to say that you transferred a concept?
Energy is a property. It's much like how weight is a property. Things will have weight, but that doesn't mean that weight itself is an object.
Okay, so the question is energy a physical object or an abstract mathematical concept? Okay, and if it's a concept, can you talk about moving a concept? Can you talk about transfer of energy, transferring energy? Does that make any sense to you? Okay, can you transfer a concept? That's the question. Okay, so first we got to determine if it's an object. If it's an object, no problem. It's like this ball. I can say, can I transfer this ball from this hand to this hand? Yeah, I can do that. Why? Because it's an object. I can see it moving. I can talk about transferring a ball in physics. Okay, in physics. Okay, and the question, can I do that with energy? Well, I can if it looks like a ball, if it looks, whatever it looks like, I don't care. But if I have some kind of shape in my hand, I can say, well, I transferred energy because I can visualize, I can make a movie of what I'm talking about. Okay? But if energy is a concept, well, then we have a little bit of a problem. So what is energy? Well, if I tell you, people say, well, Bill, that's because you don't like the word energy. So let's let some of the experts out there tell you what energy is so that there is no doubt about it. Okay? Here's a fellow, Matt O'Dowd. Okay, and what he says is, what is energy? He's got a video on this. You can look it up in YouTube. It says, he's from PBS, okay? Energy is the most powerful and useful concept in all of physics. Whoa, okay. The most powerful. I believe that. That I do believe. That it's got to be so powerful because they use this word as a joker in a rummy game. They put it everywhere. It's like the word spirit in religion. When you don't know something, you say the spirit, and you fix the problem because it's the spirit, the soul, uh, thinking, mind, conscience, and they solve everything with that. So they say the spirit. And the word energy is a synonym of the word spirit because they put it anywhere they want. They say, oh, it's energy. And people say, now I understand. Did they? Energy is not a substance, he's telling you. Okay? Energy is a number, a quantity. Let me repeat that. Energy is a number. It is not a substance. It's a quantity. Okay, it's a mathematical relationship. Supposedly he studied physics somewhere, so he's got, I think, a PhD in physics. That's why they put him up there. So if he doesn't know what energy is, nobody knows. And he's telling you it's a quantity, a number. That's what it is. Can you move a number? Can you say you moved a number, the number 5? Well, you can move if you take a cardboard and cut it, as a 5. Then you can say I moved the 5, but you're not moving the concept 5. You're moving a physical object that looks like a 5. That's not a 5. 5 is that concept, a mathematical concept. Can you move the mathematical concept 5? That's the question. So if energy is a number, you can't say you're going to move a number. So you cannot talk about the transfer of a number, which is what they're saying. They always say, we transferred energy. Okay, that was good old Matt O'Dowd. And here we have another fellow, Nick Lucid, and he says, what the heck is energy? He's got a video also there. You can look it up. He begins by looking up the word in the dictionary, and of course, what you'll find there is the one from ordinary speech, which they use in mathematical physics, and says it's the ability or the capacity. In fact, you'll find it in every textbook of physics, mathematical physics, that you study in high school. It says energy is the ability, blah, 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 or the capacity, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then he tells you very clearly, like good old Matt, he says energy isn't something tangible. Right up front, he tells you, okay? Energy is not a thing in itself. Good, we agree. It is a property of things, okay? Energy is hidden from view. Yeah, it better be hidden from view if it's not a thing, and it's always hidden. All concepts are hidden from view. You can't see concepts. Energy is a number. So now he said the same thing as good old Matt in PBS. He says energy is a number. It's a quantity. You can change energy from one type to another. Yeah, you can change energy to mass and mass to energy. Why? Because you're changing love into intelligence and intelligence into love. You're exchanging concepts. That's easy to do. You can turn any concept into any concept you want. The question is, can you turn, an elephant into a tree? That's the question. Okay, so either you turn an object into an object or a concept into a concept. Turning concept into concept, that's easy. You just do it verbally, okay, or with an equation or whatever. And so he says from potential energy, which is location specific, into kinetic energy, energy of motion, whatever that is. Okay, so how can there be energy of motion, kinetic energy, if energy is not a thing? And when it's potential, when it's just located, what do you have? What's there? I mean, if energy has location, right? Please draw it for me. I want to see a picture of this energy at that location. What is at that location? And that's where they have their contradiction. They tell you it's not something, it's not a thing, it's not a substance, but then it has location and it moves. It's got potential and kinetic energy. That's what they say. Location meaning a static concept, kinetic meaning motion. Energy is the amount of stuff that could happen. Whatever that means. What do you mean the amount of stuff that could happen? That's what this all says. Apparently he's also got a degree in physics, mathematical physics, okay? And here we have another person, Sabine, okay? And she says also, she's got a video, what is energy? Okay, what is it, good old Sabine? And she says, energy, the capacity. Again, looks it up in the dictionary, so that's what I found in the dictionary. Okay, no problem. So you found that word in the dictionary, it's got a definition. And all she did was copy and paste it like all the others. And she says, it's a property of things. Again, like Nick Lucid. Energy is a quantity. All of them say it's a number, it's a quantity. So it's not a thing, not a physical thing. It's not like a tree or a rock. Okay? A theorem gives you a mathematical procedure to derive what energy is. I'd like to know what that theorem is, because if you're saying it's going to tell you what energy is, then don't tell me that there's a theorem. Just draw it for me. Just show me what it is, because a what is that which has shape. So if you're going to say that energy is a what, and then you're going to be transferring and having kinetic and potential energy, static and dynamic energy, you better draw it first. So if a theorem tells you what it is, please draw it. It says high entropy energy is useless. I'm glad to know that. And chemical bonds store a lot of energy. Well, if it stores energy like you store food, right, or whatever you store, boots, clothes, show me the picture. Don't tell me you store energy in what, a chemical bond? What do you mean store energy? So they use all these euphemisms, and people gotten so used to them after 200 years, 300 years, right? And they just listen to all that stuff and say, oh yeah, it stores energy, it transfers, you have kinetic energy, you have static energy, potential energy. And people just listen to all this nonsense, this nonsense language, and they just take it at face value, like saying, okay, yeah, I understood that. Did you? And it says energy cannot be defined if the universe expands. I love that one. Okay, so she has no idea what energy is because she didn't draw it. She just talks about it and defined it as capacity. Some define it as the ability. Doesn't matter. Energy is a verb, if anything, and therefore it is a concept. It's a dynamic concept, and therefore if it's used as an object, it is irrational. No verb turns into a noun in physics. You can't say running turned into a rock. That's irrational in science and physics, and that's what these people are doing with the word energy. They're saying energy turned into this thing that has location, that moves, that can be transferred, etc. That's what they're saying. And so, yeah, you got to call their bluff. They learned all this by rote in high school and college, and they just repeat it, and they don't even know what they're saying. So when all else fails, you go to the Nobel Prize winners, and here you have Mr. Richard Feynman, and he says, it is important to realize that in physics today, we have no knowledge of what energy is. Yeah, because energy is not a what, energy is a concept, and so you can't say we don't have any idea what energy is. Of course you don't. I mean, if Richard Feynman didn't understand that, if he didn't learn that in high school or even in college, then what did he learn? What kind of physicist is he if he cannot tell the difference between a thing and a verb? How can he say we don't know what energy is? Of course you don't know what energy is, because energy is not a what. Very simple. And so you wonder, what his degree is worth if he doesn't know something as basic as that. Same for this fellow with the science critic. They accept all this stuff by rote on the basis of authority. And that's where the problem is, when people become too complacent with authority and they say, oh, I'm just going to accept it on the basis of this mathematical physicist because he knows all that math. He must know what he's talking about. And I'm just going to memorize it, copy paste it, and tell Bill all about it.